All right, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. Look at that. We are right on time.
All right.
So I'd like to call the June 26th regular meeting of the Board of Education to order. Let the record show that all board members are present. So we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, board, you have before you an agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Me and Jared.
Kyle and Jared. Okay, motion seconded and carried. The first thing on the agenda is information, proposals, or comments from the audience, and I don't think that we didn't have anything. So, moving on, we have informational reports, and first is the board president report. I've got a couple things. I wanted to thank everybody or thank our constituents who completed surveys and attended our listening sessions earlier this month. Your feedback helped us to identify three key areas of focus for our community engagement plan: education, communication, and interaction. We're going to work on refining the plan, and we hope to have it completed during our July board meeting. And then also, I just have a little thing to say to Dr. Glass. I want to express heartfelt gratitude for your years of service and your unwavering commitment to our school district. Your leadership has been instrumental in shaping our educational community and inspiring countless students, faculty, and staff members. Your leadership has empowered educators and staff to strive for excellence. Your tireless dedication to improving the quality of education and opportunities for students in our district is remarkable. Through your visionary approach, you have introduced innovative programs and new partnerships that have and will continue positively impact the lives of students and educators alike. As you embark on your next journey, we extend our warmest wishes for your continued success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
And I would like to also remind everyone to mark your calendars for Dr. Glass's retirement reception, which is Wednesday, June 28th from 3:30 to 7 at the Cape Country Club. That's all I have for my report.
All right. 96 hours and counting. That's what I titled my report. It's been amazing. It's been amazing 15 years. It's went by just like that. Went through a lot of hard times, a lot of great times, and I wouldn't have changed a thing. I mean, I've worked with a lot of great people. I still work with a lot of great people. And when people ask me, are you ready? I'm ready, but I'm going to really, really, really miss the people, because that's what makes this district great. They're extremely charismatic. They've got a big heart for our kids. They go above and beyond every year. There's nothing my faculty and staff wouldn't do for our kids if we asked them to do it. I can tell you that I always go out there. One of my favorite statements is go out there and make a difference. And there's plenty of opportunity out there to make a difference. There's plenty of need out there to make a difference. And we have one life and one chance to make it count for each and every one of our kids. I like to think that is the culture that we've built as a board, and that we've built as administration, that we go above and beyond for all kids, not just a particular group, but we'll go above and beyond for all groups. We ensure that our students are afforded the best opportunities available. I'm proud of our faculty and staff for investing their hearts and their souls in the future of our children. Lastly, I appreciate the confidence and support the community has shown me and the district time and time again. It is a tremendous place to work. It's a tremendous community, and I've been very, very blessed. Thank you, board, for your trust and support. That's all I got.
Okay, next up are board reports. So do we have a report from the MSBA delegate?
Nothing major. I did send out from the summer summit some slide decks from a couple of the sessions, and I'll just circle back with you. There was one of the sessions, they said they reached out to you about new superintendent evaluation and stuff, so we can circle about that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
He surprised me with an email and said he'd talk to you, so I wasn't sure what happened, so we'll circle on that. But otherwise, nothing else from the MSBA.
Legislative report.
Talking to my mic, sorry. I sent out an email.
Good job.
Nothing legislatively. So.
Okay, and the Cape Public Schools Foundation. Amy sent me a text earlier that I didn't get answered, so we don't really have a big report for that either.
And she just said that in July she'll have they received a grant.
Yep.
And it's a matching grant, and they'll be doing some fundraising and some activities around that. But she'll talk about that more in the July meeting. So.
Okay. There is in August. There is a scavenger hunt again. It's a great event if you want to have a good time running around like a maniac downtown.
I usually get caught up in that somehow.
You should participate.
They force me.
Okay, next up is the approval of consent agenda items, and this includes minutes of previous meetings from May 22nd and June 15th, payment of bills, agreement with the Kenny Rogers Center, agreement with the New Outlook, a facilities use agreement with the Boys and Girls Club, appointment of board secretary and treasurer, and board policy BBFA, which is a board member conflict of interest. Can I get a motion to approve these consent agenda
So
items?
moved.
Second.
Discussion. Do we have any discussion on any of these?
I just have one thing. So I just want to say to Beth Pointer, thank you for your years of service as the board secretary. She's been around almost as long as I have. And she's been very instrumental in making sure that this board is successful in staying on track with what its goals are and what its responsibilities are. Your record keeping is impeccable, and anytime any of us have questions, she always has the answer or knows where to get it. So I just appreciate all you've done for us as a board throughout the years, and look forward to continue to work with you. So thank you. And I look forward to working with the new
Yeah,
board
introducing
secretary.
our new board secretary, Brian Payne.
So welcome aboard.
Thank
You got big shoes to fill.
you. Small but mighty.
And they're really cute too. Her shoes are very cute.
So you have to up your shoe game a little bit. You hear that?
Yep. Any other discussion on these items? The board policy BBFA is the conflict of interest policy that we have to sign off. We have to approve every year. So that's why that's come up again.
Dr. Glass, can you explain a little bit about what a new outlook, what they do as far as what services they're providing? Or
It's all, there's our special education services,
Okay.
mental health services, OT services, PT services. We contract that out instead of housing and
Sure.
a full-time staff member. It's much cheaper that way.
I just want to make sure anyone that was watching understood what that was.
Yep.
Thank
Sure.
you.
All right, you guys ready to vote? Okay, all in favor of approving these consent agenda items?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, Next on the agenda, under business, we have the second reading and approval of board policies IGAB, IGC, IKE, IL, IND. And these are policies recommended by MSBA and the Policy Review Committee. Most of the changes in the updates are to comply with Senate Bill 681, which resulted in an extensive rewrite of state statutes concerning reading. Senate Bill 681 also requires that districts recognize the second week of April as Holocaust Education Week. The updates to policy IND comply with the new Holocaust education requirements, and I will make a note that in the policy, there does have to be some kind of a Holocaust education unit, but it doesn't have to be in April because I know that's testing season. So that's a requirement, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in April.
So moved.
Second.
I actually have a question about board policy. Which one is this? IGAB? Specifically in regards to the reading portion about the district will provide a reading success plan to students who have been identified with through the statewide assessment as at risk of dyslexia or have a formal diagnosis of dyslexia. And then we're going to give the students the opportunity to attend district summer school programs when offered. Okay, in the past, kids were offered summer school if they had a regression, right?
Right.
So we're going to offer to kids who have diagnosis of dyslexia or who are suspected dyslexia, even if they're not showing regression or behind on reading, we're still going to offer that to every child.
Yeah, from what I understand.
Okay.
I'm not the expert on this whatsoever, but they all have an ARF plan, which is at risk of failure in their reading scores areas. And so in the ARF plan, that would be identified as a need that they would go to summer school. It's not, they're just going to be offered to them.
Right.
They don't have to attend, but it's going
Right.
to be offered to them. So yeah, we may have to set aside a different cohort, basically outside of the enrichment cohort that we've offered, like this summer underneath the sea. That was kind of an enrichment.
Right.
If they're dyslexia, we may have to offer a different cohort, for those at risk of reading failure.
Well, I know we're working on getting all of our reading teachers OG certified,
Yes.
and that's huge. And so to now offer this as well, that would give them an opportunity to have even more of the OG training during summer school, so that they won't regress. Because that's so. I'm really excited about that personally.
Fantastic.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so we're voting on this motion to approve policies IGAB, IGC, IKE, IL, IND. Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is the approval of the 2022-2023 budget amendments. So the motion to be considered is to amend this budget to reflect actual expenditures, revenues, and fund transfers through June 30th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Kyle and I. Jared.
This was something we had the budget shared with us, but our motion is to also include those things that happen in the next, 4 days? Yes. Okay.
And as you've seen through the budget that we just got done reviewing, Lindsay's got a great control over the district finances. We're in a great position. I feel like you're in a great position to weather storms that may come our way due to the high inflation. I think for several years, I think we're very, very solid, and she's done a tremendous job with the oversight on that. She always provides great feedback and great suggestions when we ask her, and she always keeps us in line too asking for something just not possible, she'll let us know. So I think she does a fantastic job, her and her team, and so I think you're in great hands.
Awesome. Okay, the motion's on the floor. Can I get a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is approval of the 2023-2024 budget. So the motion is to adopt the budget as presented. We just had a presentation in our executive session. And let's see.
So moved.
Yeah,
Second.
so move second. Do you guys have any discussion on this?
I would just like to make a comment. I know we said this upstairs, but Dr. Glass, when you started as superintendent, the fund balance in 2017 was
16.
16%. So
No, it was 13%. That was
13%.
in 16.
in 16.
Yep.
So I just think it's phenomenal that, we're going to be sitting here at almost 26% fund balance at the end of your tenure. So I think that's important to call out. And I just want to give one last, moment of appreciation for what you've done to this district.
Well,
especially
Dr. Welker started that. He's the one that taught me. He was my mentor, and
You continued it.
through that. We made some great progress, and Lindsay's taken the baton and ran with it.
I just want to acknowledge our staff that helps with the budget, all the building principals, our administrators, department heads, our coordinators, everybody I think does a really good job of keeping their budget in line, looking at the bigger picture, and then staying within the budget. We all work really well together on that. And Dr. Glass has had tremendous oversight on the budget, and really what you've done is phenomenal. And it's long, big steps, but it really is. And so it's been an honor for me to work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of adopting the 23-2024 budget as presented?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is approval of CMIR for the CTC edition. And the motion is to authorize the superintendent or his designee the authority to extend construction manager at-risk services for the CTC building expansion on the Mack College campus building from a previously executed CMIR contract noted as additional projects.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So I just got done kind of explaining that the state has $5 million set aside for the CTC expansion, for some of those, for some of the programs. I know Lyman School is one of the things that they want to expand. They're wanting to introduce. They're wanting to expand the welding program out there. There's several other programs like that they're wanting to expand on. So this money will go a long ways in providing a facility for that expansion. So this CMAR allows us to hit the ground running, and we went out for an RFP. What was the last, Casey, you were involved in that? It's been, 6-8 months ago. And it allowed us for any additional projects that we saw in the near future to be able to exercise under the same contract. We feel like this would be very advantageous for us to get moving on this contract as well, because that $5 million has to be spent in this fiscal year, July 1 to June 30th. So we don't have any time to waste. We've got to make sure that we get those design documents out and get moving.
So remind me that the CMAR just means they're going to be kind of a general contractor for whatever takes place.
They are,
more or less.
and they start right at the design phase. So instead of bringing them in after the design's already done, they're able to capture some of the mistakes, maybe some value engineering that might be able to happen, those types of things. That's what they bring to the table.
Okay, so the match that we're required here is that 100% match we're required to contribute, worst case scenario?
That's not the $5 million, that's the $3 million. The $3
Okay.
million is the match.
Okay.
And so that's what we're still working on.
Okay, so we don't have to match the $5 million, just the $3 million.
Just the $3 million.
Okay, so that, potentially worst case scenario, and we talked about some in the closed session, or in the special session, we talked about some things that would could potentially offset that $3 million match.
Yes.
Worst case scenario, we end up having to spend $3 million to
If
match
you want
it.
to, there's nothing
Correct.
that says you have to.
Okay, so we're not, so that we don't have to take the $3 million. Okay.
You can just leave it on the table.
Is that $3 million in this $18 million in estimated expenditures for the budget next year?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? So, all those in favor of authorizing the superintendent or his designee the authority to extend the CMIR services from a previously executed contract? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is approval of the Ameren easement. So the motion to be considered is to authorize the board president to negotiate a contract on behalf of the board with Ameren, Missouri for parcel, there's a lot of numbers here.
So moved.
Second.
So, do you want to talk about this a little
Yeah,
bit?
this is just an easement. We had an easement out here several years ago that Ameren needed to run some new power lines, high lines to a substation down here. I assume that's what they're doing up there off Independence, and they need a couple of our parcels in their easement, under their easement. So they're willing to offer us $10,000 to have an easement through there. So along Independence and one small parcel along Clark. So kind of routine.
And I assume like Mr. Corral and everybody reviewed that. It won't interfere with the new pool building or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're already existing. I mean,
Okay.
the lines that they've got are already there. So it's just a matter of getting
I
it
saw the
sorted.
one was right next to.
The pool,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's on that side.
On Clark, there's a small portion, I don't know, it's 10 by 47.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of negotiating this contract with Ameren?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is approval of a roofing bid for Blanchard. So the motion is to authorize the superintendent or his designee to negotiate a contract on behalf of the board with Riverside Roofing Company for new roofing at Blanchard Elementary for an amount not to exceed $185,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, discussion?
We've had a lot of issues with that Blanchard roof. It's one of those things that was on the bond issue. This is kind of our last project, so we want to make sure that we get that buttoned up. And I think Riverside offered a bid. So
How many other bids do we have?
we didn't have any. Nobody. He put that in the rationale that there just aren't roofers out there willing to take any other jobs right now here locally. We had I know he had a mandatory pre-bid meeting, and Riverside was the only one that showed up.
Yeah.
But I think he went out and checked this with his consultant, make sure they were in line with market.
Do they have a timeline on completion of that?
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that information was out there, that they were the only ones that showed up.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Can all those in favor of approving this motion?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. One more. This is approval of the freezer bid for the district. And the motion is to authorize the superintendent or his designee to negotiate a contract on behalf of the board with A&W Refrigeration Services for a district freezer for an amount not to exceed $147,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and I'll read the rationale on this. Since you have some questions. The district cooler freezer is located in the warehouse that Nutrition Services uses to store items for all schools. It's over 20 years old and has reached the end of its life expectancy. 3 bids were accepted for the replacement, and Care to Learn has agreed to split this cost at half of the recommended bid amount to help subsidize the replacement.
So Care to Learn got a $2.5 million grant and split between, I think, 40 different school districts. And they said, if you have some needs that fit within our model, health, hygiene, and hunger, then submit those. So we submitted the freezer, and they said, that fits, we'll pay half of it.
Sweet.
Okay.
So that's
So
kind
they're
of,
going to pay half of the $147,000.
yeah, right at $75,000.
Okay.
What happens to the old one? I guess this is big. It's gonna be big.
It's huge.
It's,
it'll
yeah, it's like
have to be
40 by
just
27 and 10 foot tall. This is a heck of a freezer.
Make a nice deer camper. Haul it out there.
Heck of a Super Bowl party.
No, it's got to be dismantled.
I think that's part of the bid is taking that away
Right.
too. Yeah.
So what does that food and everything in it get stored?
They'll have to bring an on-site trailer. I think it's in the bid, refrigerated trailer.
So thinking about this is probably going to be more energy efficient than our existing freezer, right?
Oh, yeah. There you go, your operating costs. You're getting some back.
See, I like that.
Yes.
All right.
So
Don't leave the door open.
That's my understanding.
Do they currently have access?
I don't
If they prefer.
know what all they put in there.
Okay.
There may be some, it'd be very limited. They don't do a whole lot with frozen
I
foods.
was gonna say maybe turkeys around Thanksgiving,
Maybe,
but
yeah.
other than that,
They don't do a whole lot.
Okay.
most of their stuff's backpacks.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor of negotiating this contract?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Tailgating just got better.
Okay, next on the agenda is information and proposals from board members. Does anyone?
So I don't have an informational proposal. I have a question. And it stems from someone who called me today and said, and this is, when they asked it to me, it was not so much a question as an accusation, but I have the actual question. So this TIF deal with the mall is going to abate about $20 million in property taxes, what this person told me that the district would have received over the next 20 years, so about $1 million a year. Why, as a district, is that not true? What are those numbers?
$3 million.
Over,
And that's from sales tax and property tax.
no, it's $100 million and it's abating altogether.
Yeah, but that's several different layers of taxes.
Right, so it's only $3 million
Of
that the
property.
district is going
Yeah, ad
to,
valorem taxes. Yeah.
okay, and over a 20-year period. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it's, Matt and I got a chance to hear both sides of that story, and we felt like it was a great investment for the school district as far as what they plan on doing with the mall. I know the city council, a lot of them are on board with that vision that they see. I do know there was a couple opponents there.
Well, I had read about it and thought it sounded like a good idea, but when somebody called and said this to me, I admittedly had not paid enough attention to see what the effects of the district would be.
The only way you get those taxes is
Is
if
if it's
property value
increased.
increases.
Right, understood.
So if you do nothing, you
Right,
get nothing.
it doesn't matter anyway,
We
right,
still get the-
understood.
we
I
still get
just,
the base.
when they said 20 million, I went, could that be right? And I
wish.
even questioned the person and asked him, $20 million, is that right? Yeah,
Right.
over a 20-year period. And I went, well, that's a lot more money than I thought it was. So,
We get roughly $133,000 from
okay, a year.
the property tax out there now.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll continue to get that.
Yeah, we'll continue to get, it's just, we won't be getting the money over the improvement, right? So like if we were getting 150,000 and it's now 200,000, we wouldn't get that other 50.
You get 50%.
Correct.
You
We
get
get a
50% of the increase.
Okay,
So we get the base, and then let's say it increases 100,000.
You get
we get
we get 50,000, right.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I think all of the percentages are yet to be negotiated by the city.
Right,
Yes.
The commission's job was to determine if it qualified for TIF.
right. Well, with the
And-
community engagement thing, it just, when somebody called and asked me this, I thought, well, let's
And
talk about
obviously,
it.
depending on what side you listen to, which we did listen to both sides, is what they're going to try to convince you of. But from where we sit, we believe that the district would only benefit
Right.
from it.
Feel
Yeah, no, like I said, the person called me and it felt more like an accusation when they were talking to me. And I went, look, admittedly am not up to speed on all this, I will ask the question. It's,
Sure.
if somebody has a question, let's ask it.
There was an $18 million line item, but that was a lot of that was sales tax, which the district
It has
does not
nothing to
get.
do with, right.
That may be where they got the $20 million. They rounded up to $20 million.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
And the other thing is, if they reach their dollar goal for
The
tax
cap.
abatement, if they reach that cap,
Over that.
then whatever time they reach that, the rest of the time is normal. So
Right.
if they reach it in 15 years, we get it 8 years earlier. So-
Right. And if it's not there, 100% of zero is still zero.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm good at math, yeah.
All right, I think that's everything. Can I?
The only thing I have, I just want to
Oh.
say thank you to Dr. Glass.
Yep.
So it's been 15 years
15.
that we've been working together. You as assistant superintendent under Dr. Welker, and then you and your administration continuing the work that he started. I just think the things that you two as superintendents have done over the past 15 years has set this district up to do nothing but succeed. Whether it's the 3 bond issues that basically renovated all of our buildings to make them safer for our students, the addition of the stadium, the addition of Kinder Hall, the rebuilding of Franklin School, renovating Jefferson. I mean, the list just goes on and on of everything you've accomplished by pushing those bond issues through, and the district will be forever thankful for the work that you did there. But coming from the board side, some of the things you've done that have set us up for success, you were instrumental in eliminating the old salary schedule, which was doing nothing but making us an older employee pool. Teachers were coming here to retire. We weren't getting new teachers to come here because the salaries were so much lower than the rest of the district. By putting in the new salary schedule, that has offered new teachers to come into our district and to stay here for their retirement. And you know, they appreciate that. We now are the highest starting salaries within our region, and that doesn't go unnoticed. The other thing that you've done and been very instrumental in is taking us to be self-insured when it comes to our health. Every year we were seeing 10 to 14 to 18% increases, and that money was going into health insurance rather than going into salary schedules. And by being self-insured, that's freed up anywhere from $1 to $2.5 million a year for our teachers to get better salaries, better benefits. You would be hard pressed to find any employer in this area that can offer the health insurance and all the benefits that we have for, and they don't have to pay for it, but it's roughly $500 a month. That says a lot about where your heart is, making sure our employees are taken care of, making sure that their families are taken care of, and I really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
enjoyed working with you.
Sure.
Anyone else? All
Maybe the
right.
shortest meeting ever.
I think Matt's got a speed, but
Yeah, speed read really fast though.
We've had 15-minute meetings before.
yeah. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. It is
Shut the laptop.
6:34.